This week is coming to an end today, as the only video left for me to tackle is listing the top 10 best rap albums of 2024. I poured my sweat into finding the worst and the best material out there, but this video is by far the hardest video to make out of the bunch, simply because there were too many good projects that came out this year. So unlike my other videos, I'm actually going to dedicate a section for honorable mentions. First, I would like to shout out Future and Metro Boomin's collaboration that they did earlier this year, We Don't Trust You. It's just a fun trap record to listen to. After that, I would like to mention Doechie's Alligator Bites Never Heal. She has proven to be a very versatile artist, someone that can make many different styles of rap with her witty humor and her infectious flows. I just wish the tracks after Nissan Altima had more interesting ideas. I would then like to make my way to Cozz, The Thief Next to Jesus. While I think there's better abstract hip-hop records this year, it's a record that sees Cozz battle between being spiritual and being secular, and it's just really tragic to see him pass away this year because of how talented he was as a writer and a poet. And yes, I know some people are gonna roll their eyes with this take, but I'm going 29-3 by Yeat. I think Yeat deserves more credit than he got with the makings of this album. It's honestly just a great fusion of rage with experimental and industrial that culminates into a very futuristic sounding record. Alright, now that my honorable mentions are out of the way, it's time to begin the best rap albums of 2024. Starting with number 10, Mach-Hommy's Rich Ass Haitian. Mach-Hommy is a guy who's been making these raw, grimy mixtape type albums for years, and with his new record over here, it's just a good tape with a bunch of thoughtful bars, immaculate flows. This is overall just a very well-rounded album in general. The features I think also deliver a pretty good job as a supporting cast. Black Dot I thought killed it on Copy Cold. This record at times is pretty lo-fi, but not too lo-fi to the point where it gets boring. It's just a very insightful record. Not too over the top, but not ear candy. The record at the number 9 spot is one that I think is a teeny tiny bit overrated, Blue Lips by Schoolboy Q. The reason why I say it's overrated is because I see tons of discussion online about how this is the album of the year and top 3. Look, it's not in my books. The biggest issue I have with Blue Lips is that it's a record with themes and ideas all over the place that don't connect together very well. You have the bangers like Thank God for Me and Urine 101, but there's also a bunch of soothing records like Blue Slides and Lost Times. However, as I have said in my original review for this record, Blue Lips is not a record about trying to piece everything together, because by doing so, you're just gonna get lost. Instead, it's about the experience, just taking a blend of abstract and gangster rap as it is. And by doing so, I think most people will get a hit out of this thing. Though I think there were better records that came out this year. Number 8 is gonna go to another very underrated record that came out this year. That is Mavi's Shadowbox. When I heard it the first time, I knew that this was gonna be hard to beat. It's simply because Shadowbox indulges the listener into a set of very moody, very dark atmosphere. Each track flows together seamlessly. The production is great throughout the entire album, but most importantly, this record offered tons of replay value in my eyes. Songs like The Giver and Drunk Prayer are some of the best songs of the year. But outside the highlights, Mavi just flows through each track with a very chill demeanor, but rapping with a very mature and reflective delivery. I think this thing single-handedly beats out every other abstract record that came out this year. At our number 7 spot is a rapper that's been on and off in terms of popularity. He is someone that is able to consistently drop some of the best records and some of the worst records at the same time. I am talking about Ultra 85 by Logic. When Logic announced the record that he has been working on since 2017, I was naturally inclined to listen. And boy oh boy did he pull it off with this record. This is basically the incredible true story, but with even more vivid storytelling and even more detailed narrative of a spaceship traveling through space, searching for a new habitable planet as we follow the journey of a few crew members on board. It's clear that on Ultra 85, Logic's main focus is not going commercial, but making a record for himself. It's a love letter for the fans as well. Every beat on here is great, the characters are really easy to connect to. If you love to check out a cinematic record on the topics of sci-fi, you should definitely check this one out. Number 6, however, is a sharp contrast with Ultra 85. That record is not deep nor profound, but still comes through as a very entertaining listen. I am of course referring to Denzel Curry's King of the Mischievous South. I did a pretty good review covering this album, but to sum it up, Denzel is once again going in a different direction compared to his previous albums, dumbing it down for the audience with a bunch of hits after hits. It's got that classic Memphis hip-hop vibe to it. It's grimy, rough around the edges at times, but overall presents itself as a very intoxicating record. At our number 5 spot, we have a beloved member of the hip-hop community coming through once again with just a very good, solid record. Lupe Fiasco Samurai. I originally had this as my album of the year because I found the main focus of giving a homage to Amy Winehouse really intriguing. It's like Lupe found a way to visualize the hypothetical rapping abilities that Amy would have demonstrated, depicting presenting her as a samurai and a battle rapper. And overall, I just found this record to be very concise with no filler. Throughout this project, Lube is conducting himself in an orderly manner by commanding over these kinds of jazzy beats similar to Common and Pete Rock's collab album, The Auditorium, this year. However, I like Samurai better because I think it's more focused and more consistent. At number 4 is a record that I bet people were waiting on, Chromacopia by Tyler, the Creator. At this point, Tyler just doesn't miss. This is a project painting Tyler in a very vulnerable light and someone that's fighting against the prospect of growing up. From front to back, we see Tyler maturing and learning to accept his flaws as a human being and slowly opening himself to others. From the very paranoid track, Noid, to the very earnest Take Off Your Mask. This record has an amazing story progression, not to mention the tons of hits this theme brings along the way, like the intro track Saint Chroma, which sounds like a theme song to a main character, Thought I Was Dead, which is an epic banger, and The Beautiful Like Him, where Tyler makes one of his most emotionally expressive songs detailing the mystery of his father. At our number 3 spot, it is an album that has been a huge grower for me. A record that just keeps on getting better and better as I listen to this theme more. That is Vince Staples' Dark Times. Dark Times, I think, is one of Vince's best projects up to date. Just like Samurai is also on the shorter end, also being around 30 minutes, but Dark Times makes me regret not keeping up with lots of the work Vince has been putting out. When this record is at its most thought-provoking moment thanks to Bro's amazing writing and storytelling, Dark Times is full of tiny details and lyrical schemes for the listener to digest. I love when artists can combine that element to their work, but make it catchy at the same time. Black and Blue, Lil Homies, and Itofre? Yeah, it's a record that touches a lot on vulnerable topics, but in a positive way, telling the listener that at the end of the day, it's all gonna be okay. Unlike Vince, an artist that I've been keeping up for a very long time since his come up in 2018 is JPEG Mafia's I Lay Down My Life For You. Peggy is the best artist to make something completely out of the ordinary by piecing together the most outlandish samples and instrumentals and making it work at the end of the day. This record continues to see Peggy push the musical boundaries and what he's capable of as a producer and as a rapper by making one of his most lush albums yet. The industrial cuts on Sin Miedo and Don't Rely on Other Men hit harder than the belt. Meanwhile, on I Recover From This and Either On or Off the Drugs, it transitions to a very slow moving and relaxing record. And finally, we arrive at our number 1 spot, the best hip-hop record of 2024. I know it might sound like a basic pick, but how could you deny that one of the best, one of the most well-known hip-hop artists of all time comes through with an amazing body of work? It may be the most popular album on this list, maybe you want to hear Underdog to take this trophy this year, but in my opinion, this is truly the best album of 2024, GNX by Kendrick Lamar. I'm a guy that usually moves on to other things pretty fast. I don't really have a set rotation I go to because most of what I listen to just comes in and out. So when Kendrick Lamar proves the haters wrong by providing a record that is catchy with bangers from front to back, that to this day I still mess a lot, it's the album of the year. The great West Coast hip-hop tracks of Squabble Up, Hey Now, and TV Off, the amazing R&B cuts of Luther and Gloria, and the introspective and self-reflective moments like Man of the Garden, Reincarnated, and The Hard Part 6. My point being is that despite GNX being one of Kendrick's more service level records, it's one of the most engaging records he has ever dropped in his career. That's it for 2024 and wraps up List Week. Thank you to everyone who has made it this far into the video. Peace out.